Valiant Renegade is here, and he says there was no accident in the lack of Filoni fanfare. Lucasfilm website was updated immediately after hiring Sengupta. Filoni was named ECD months before that and kept quiet deliberately. We get it now because of the other recent Disney news it ties to. Very astute observations there, Valiant Renegade.
Renegade Online. So yesterday afternoon, I cut a video, and it didn't get out till this morning. It just took me a while to get everything uploaded, had some things going on. And in the interim regarding the Dave Filoni news, being executive director, executive creative director, now at Lucasfilm, Variety came out with an article that appeared to confirm this. And a lot of people looked at that and said, oh, well, it's no big deal because, well, Lucasfilm made this decision almost a year ago. In fact, summer of last year in 2020. And then seemed to move on from there, saying, well, this is just a non-event. It has been the case for some time, except for the fact that why didn't we know about it until just now? Now, some people wanted to chalk this up to simply being a matter of oversight on Lucasfilm's part. They just forgot to update the website. No big deal. They just finally got around to it. Not a problem. Except for the fact that when we go back and look at one of my previous videos from earlier this year, Mo Sengupta was hired by Lucasfilm in January. And her hiring was met with fanfare, not only by updating immediately on the website, but also with a press release to accompany it. So this was something that was a known quantity. And if they were updating the website at that point with Mo Sengupta being so high up the totem pole in the executive ladder, why then was Dave Filoni's name not amended at that point? Very curious. As I've always said, Disney does things very deliberately. They don't come out and make grand mea culpas. They don't do anything that's terribly obvious. They just kind of do stuff under the cover of darkness, and then we wake up one morning and find out that it happened, right? Well, here we are. Here we are. Very interesting stuff, isn't it? So, when we go back and look at this, the story is not so much now that Filoni was named executive director. It's the fact that there was no story about it when it happened. So we have to ask ourselves why at this point. Well, we had a lot of things coming out from Disney in the last few weeks, organizational restructures, shifting to a distribution focus as opposed to a creative focus, meaning that they were going to start making content that fans demanded that would sell and make money. Well, you put a guy like Dave Filoni in charge who has a track record of making very popular Star Wars pieces, and that should tell you enough. But what it also lends itself to is this. It starts putting into perspective the things that we saw towards the end of last year when Mando Season 2 was out and running, does it not? For example, the grand return of Luke Skywalker. We were told stories and articles were written in publications and even said by some members of the story group, including Pablo Hidalgo himself. They basically had no idea that Luke Skywalker was coming, and people asked themselves, how on earth could they have kept that a secret for so long? How is it that the story group was completely taken aback? Well, now we know, because Dave Filoni was named their boss 6 months before Luke Skywalker took the stage in December of 2020. Dave Filoni at that point would have, theoretically, had the power and the authority to keep the story group, now neutered and defunct, in the dark and not tell them anything. Also explains why we haven't heard much out of the story group anymore. Because why? Well, the story group was supposed to be directing everything at Lucasfilm, everything Star Wars especially, since 2012, as I mentioned in the previous video to this one, which if you haven't seen, go check it out. And would this not also maybe explain a little bit why Pablo Hidalgo seemed a bit, salty when it came to Star Wars theory and his reaction to Luke's return? Could be. Maybe the guy was a little ticked off that he had effectively lost his job to Dave Filoni at that point, who just brought Luke back. All that stuff starts falling into place, doesn't it? The story group has been neutered. If Dave Filoni has been indeed named executive creative director, which by all accounts he has, confirmed late last night by Variety, well, that seems to suggest not only is Kathleen Kennedy out the door, but the story group is going to be following her very closely. Stay tuned.